If you're a multi-location business owner, have you ever noticed how one location, the first location is solid, the second location feels kind of unpredictable, and then you've got another location that's just bleeding cash and you don't really know why? Most owners think they have a unified system for their multi-locations, but they actually don't. When every location is run differently, profit leaks before it even hits your account, and the waters are muddied because you don't know where the leaks are actually coming from. One location is just in business to pay for the other ones, and at that point, what is the point? I'm Abby Johnson. I help business owners install systems in their business that actually support profitability and growth across all locations. And today, I'm going to show you how to do just that. I usually see the same story with multi-location owners. They start with one location, it's doing really well, it's rocking and rolling, and they think, hey, let's open another one. Or they get an opportunity on their desk to buy a second location, whatever it may be, and they go ahead and do it. A lot of times, it's actually too soon to do that. Just because one location is going super well does not mean that you are set up to have profitable growing other locations. So what ends up happening is you've got the headquarters, that first mothership location, and then the other locations end up not doing as well as the original, and it's really hard to pinpoint why that is. You've got different pricing, different management, different quality of work across locations, and instead of gaining financial and time freedom, you actually end up with more chaos and more stress. It's just multiplied across your county. And what ends up happening is you are the consistent link between your locations and you become the bottleneck and you are still dependent on. So I want to talk about a few different ways that we can fix this. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your pricing and your offer are unified across locations. You want to have the same offer, the same specials, whatever was successful in that first location, you also want to have that at the other locations. I think the only time this wouldn't apply is if one of your locations is in a much different demographic area. Maybe it's a much lower income area or something of that sort. But even right there, that means you probably did not pick the right location. You should try to go in a similar demographic area wherever you are opening another location. If you are in a more affluent part of town, try to go to another affluent part of town or the town over, whatever it may be. This is how you can help ensure that you're copy and pasting the right systems and that they're actually going to work in that other location. I once had a franchise owner that I was working with, and the franchise and other owners were doing great and she was struggling, but she was in a very small town in Texas, and what she was offering and the pricing of what she was offering just did not match her geographic area, the type of people who lived there, what they wanted. So you want to make sure that your pricing and your offer are the same and that they match the area of that new location. So the next thing you want to do is make sure all the locations are tracking the same stats so that you can compare them between locations. I've seen this mistake where sometimes there's one LLC that owns all the locations and therefore all of the bookkeeping is combined, and it's really hard to see which location is actually bleeding or eating up the profit. So you should definitely check with an attorney in terms of should there be separate LLCs per location. I am not an attorney, so I'm not going to advise you on that. But at the very least, you can get a statistic tracking software and monitor statistics between the different locations. So you can monitor things like income. You can figure out expenses or payroll by location. You can look at new customers per location. This is going to start really hardline painting a picture of which one's doing better and which one isn't. Instead of just saying, well, it felt like this was performing or it felt like this was doing better or worse, you now have the hard data to look at so you know which levers to pull and which location to make improvements on your current situation. These stats also need to be completely owned by the managers of those locations so that they have ownership of them and they are responsible for them. They are keeping their eye on them on a week-to-week basis. And that's how things improve, is by having an actual person putting their attention on those numbers that truly matter. So if you're sitting here thinking, yeah, I have multiple locations, but I don't know which one is draining my profit, or maybe even you know which one is draining your profit, but you don't know why or where it's going. I get it, multi-locations can be complicated and they can be messy. That's why my team and I are here to help you. Click the link below and book one of our free profit assessments. Someone on my team will meet with you, go over your locations, go over the good, the bad, and the ugly, and find out how to optimize your profitability across all locations. They'll give you 3 to 5 things that you can implement right away to start turning things around, and most owners find at least $20,000 of leaks on these calls in the first 30 minutes alone. So click the link below and book your call today. The next thing I want you to do, and if you've seen any of my videos before, you're not going to be surprised by this, but I want you to have profit first in place, and if possible, by location. I've got plenty of other videos on the profit first system, but part of the system is having separate bank accounts for different areas of the business's finances. Now, this might sound like a lot. If you do have 3 separate entities, why would I need 5 different accounts for 3 different entities? That's 15 accounts. Oh my gosh. But this is actually really easy to do with an online bank like Relay Financial, where you can have up to 20 accounts. You can easily toggle between your different LLCs. I highly recommend Relay. But the point is then you have clear financials for each location. Again, you're going to know which one is letting you down, which one is actually carrying the load, etc. If you have one LLC, you can still do this where maybe you have an operating expense account per location, and that way you know which location is overspending, which location is dragging everyone else down. And finally, and I would say probably even most importantly, you need to have consistent systems that are installed in each location. Look, you probably have multiple locations because your first was doing so well. So you need to make sure that whatever was working in that first location is exactly replicated into the other locations. This is also how you ensure consistent quality throughout the locations. How is this person treated in terms of medically treated if you're in the medical field? How is the actual product or service delivered to the customer? Is it done in the same way each and every time? These all need to be written SOPs that are followed throughout all locations. For example, I have a gym that I go to. I love going there. I am not normally a gym person, but the culture and the way everyone treats each other at this gym and the workouts themselves are really great for me. Now, I went to another location of this same gym because it was closer to my son's daycare, and I was a little nervous because I didn't have my usual trainer or the usual other people with me in class. But what I found was my workout experience was exactly the same. The workouts were structured the same because all locations do the same group classes, and the way I was treated was the same too. The trainer came up to me, learned my name, learned if I had any injuries. She would come up to me during the workouts and check on me. Everyone's high-fiving and being supportive of each other. So this gym had a way of copy and pasting their culture into every location. So even if you were working out in another location, you still got that same experience that you were expecting. And this all comes down to having systems that go into each location and building a culture that goes into each location. And it all starts with you at the top as the owner. You have to set that standard of the culture, and your managers have to make sure that those systems and SOPs continue to stay in place. And then to tie all of this together, you should have a manager for each location, and you should be meeting with your managers on a weekly basis. This is where you can go over those statistics. You can go over any flaws in the locations, anything that needs help being worked on. The managers can collaborate with each other to share what is working or not working at their location. Everyone has to be coordinated. Even if they're at a different location, this is a team effort, is all one team. And without the proper statistics, you're not going to be able to do this. And without consistent systems across locations, you're also not going to be able to do this. So those are both extremely important. All right, so here is your action plan going forward. The first thing you need to do is truly identify the leaking location if you don't already know it. And I'm talking about financially leaking, not emotionally leaking, although they might be one and the same in this instance. This might take some data recon. You might have to go through some numbers to pull and compare your locations. But once you have identified the leaking location or the location dragging everything down, then you can look at what is at this location that is different. What is or isn't happening at this location that is happening at the flagship location. You need to compare the two and see what the discrepancy is. Sometimes this comes down to the staff and the people that are running that second location. So definitely take a look in that area as well. Then I want you to make sure all locations have the same pricing, offer, systems, and culture. Once you have those in place, you can put in regular weekly meetings with your managers to make sure those things stay in place and constantly look at what needs to be improved or corrected in each location as a team. And then, of course, make sure you get your profit first cash management installed in every location so you have total clarity on your profitability and all expenses are easily covered and you are easily paid from each location. If you're tired of running multiple locations that feel like multiple headaches, it's time for a different approach. My team will take a look at your locations and your numbers, find your greatest profit leaks, and give you a plan of 3 to 5 steps that you can implement right away. Click the link below to book our free profit assessment today. And if you want to learn about the 5 money habits that are keeping business owners broke, check out this video here. I'll see you next time.